What's up, Zombie Talk? 123. Now, for the last few days, the Blue Jays seem to be the winner to win the negotiating rights of maybe even a record amount of money to be able to negotiate with Japanese starter Yu Darvish. Now, Yu Darvish has put up amazing years, not having an ERA under or over two, since 2007. Last year had an ERA about 150. He went over 230 innings last year and has been one of the best starters that Japan has ever seen. Now, the word had it that he would break the record for Daisuke Matsuzaka's posting fee record, which was $51.1 million. We all know how that turned out. Daisuke was good for the first 2 years, got injured, and has been off and on since. So for Boston, it was definitely a flop there. He provided them with, 2 good years, but definitely could have been better. Now, the thing about Yu Darvish is he's only 25. So this deal looks even better for whoever wins the negotiating rights. Now, he's not going to play in the major leagues next year unless he signs a contract with the team who won. So just because the team got and won the negotiating rights doesn't mean that he's already on their team. So the winning bid of $51.7 million, breaking the record for the posting fee, is the Texas Rangers. Now, this last day of 24 hours, if you've been following Twitter, more and more updates keep saying the Rangers, the Rangers. If you're thinking smart, you're thinking the Rangers. Some executives, some sources said, watch out for the Rangers. And so it started to come on, and, as I made a video on the latest of Yu Darvish a while ago, or maybe not a while ago, a day or two, and a lot has changed since then. Yesterday, as we're going into the later innings of before the announcement, thinking, it could definitely be the Rangers. It was going to be a Rangers-Blue Jays. And it made a lot of sense for the Blue Jays, except for the fact that, you have to pay the money straight up. And the Blue Jays paying $50 million plus, not per year, just straight up to the Japanese team, and then having to pay for this guy. It could be a major risk. But for the Rangers, they have the money, and they're definitely willing to take it. The Rangers, they lost C.J. Wilson. They need a young starter. They will have Natali Feliz and Ogando going to the rotation. They got Joe Nathan. They have Mike Adams. So they have the relief to do it. And they now have the rotation if they get Yu Darvish. The rotation is actually pretty packed with Colby Lewis, Derek Holland, Alexi Ogando, Natali Feliz, and if they get Yu Darvish. And then Matt Harrison also. So, the rotation will be packed, but the starting five will be, Yu Darvish, will be Alexi Ogando, it will be Natali Feliz, it will be Derek Holland, and Colby Lewis, in my opinion. That could change, but, that seems like the best five. So the Rangers could have gone many different ways here. They could have maybe gone for a trade, but, with guys on their team that are the superstars getting older, I think their prospects are even more valuable. If they want to continue this dynasty that they're starting to create going to the World Series 2 years in a row, it would be smarter, in my opinion, for them to not give up any prospects to upgrade the rotation. So what do? They have the money, spend it. They have spent a record $51.7 million posting fee. They won't have to pay it if they don't reach a contract. Do I expect them to reach a contract? Yes. Expect it 6 to 7 year deal from $60 to $7 million. And that's going to range, total price is going to range from $100 to $120 million total commitment. Now, this is actually not that bad of a deal for the Rangers if this gets done. Number one, he's 25. C.J. Wilson is 32. C.J. Wilson was looking for a 6-year deal worth $120 million. Obviously, he's not going to get that. Say the Rangers did go with that. They're spending pretty much the same amount of money for a guy who has pitched better than C.J. Wilson the last few years in Japan. He's 25 and has a huge upside. So definitely smart for them not to go after C.J. Wilson if they're wanting to go after Yu Darvish the whole time. Also, the Rangers know Yu Darvish better than anyone. The Rangers, if you remember, the Rangers had scouts at every game of Yu Darvish last year, just in case he did get posted. They knew how good he was, and they were not afraid. They went 100% after him, and they won the bidding. So that's another thing to think about. They know how good he is, better than anyone. Also, if the Rangers would have gone to, say, $80 million, $75 million on the C.J. Wilson for 4 or 5 years, you'd have him for 5 years, you pay $70, $80 million, or would you rather pay $40 million, $20 to $40 million more over the course of that amount of years, maybe even a few more years, to have a guy who's a lot younger than C.J. Wilson, will excite your fan base a lot more, will have a ton of hype, and has a potential to pitch a lot better than C.J. Wilson over the next few years. So if you add up the total calculations of what they could have spent, they're getting a pretty good deal for Yu Darvish compared to going and keeping C.J. Wilson and maybe trying to upgrade their rotation, trade-wise or something else. So if they would have gone a 5-year, $80 million on C.J. Wilson, and they end up going a 6-year deal on Yu Darvish of a total commitment of maybe $110 million, that is, 2 more years you're getting, or a year more of getting Darvish, and you're spending, $20 million more, $30 million more. So yes, there's some financial commitment there that they are committing. But the thing with Darvish is you're paying most of that straight up to the Japanese team, $50 million. All right, so that's a lot of money to pay. But over the course of this deal, if he works a 6 or 7 year deal, it'll stretch itself out. It'll be worth it for the Rangers. And unless this guy's a total flop, I think this could be a huge, great deal for the Rangers. I mean, there's not many times where a 25-year-old with as much talent as Yu Darvish goes on the market to excite the whole fan base going from Japan, and to be able to get him for $100-something million. Not many times that happens. I know it's a huge commitment, it's a huge risk, but for the Rangers, there's not that many options out there. They really want to upgrade that rotation. They really want to excite the fan base. They want to keep their pitchers younger. They want to keep their prospects. You go after a guy like Yu Darvish, they obviously know his risk by having scouts at every game of his. He's won Gold Gloves. He's been All-Stars. He had a 1.5 around ERA. He hasn't had an ERA above 2 since 2007. He worked 232 innings. He obviously doesn't have any health problems, because if he did, they would not have spent that much money in him. And now they will negotiate a contract. So if he does play in the majors in 2012, he will only be on the Rangers. So this is a huge deal, as a lot of people expected the Blue Jays to be able to get him. And if you do the math, I'm sorry I explained the whole math with the salary, C.J. Wilson and Yu Darvish terribly. And but if you do the math and think about how much money they could have spent on C.J. Wilson, here's 32, or how much more money and how much average that rounds out to be per year. You're spending more on Yu Darvish, who's 25. I think Yu Darvish will seem almost worth it at this point. Again, it's a risk, so it's not like you feel that great about it. But for fans, if you're not thinking about the price tag of it, yes, you feel very happy. And the Rangers still could go after a guy like Prince Fielder. They could really combat the Angels' moves, getting the two younger guys in Fielder and Yu Darvish, instead of the Rangers, who've made some really, really bad financial decisions over the past few years with Vernon Wells and other trades like that, going after and getting the two older guys. So, the Rangers are kind of the next dynasty, in my opinion, and they have a great general manager, and they put up a lot of great players. And instead of going after older guys like Albert Pujols and C.J. Wilson, they're going younger. They're getting Yu Darvish and maybe even Prince Fielder. So that would be a huge offseason for the Rangers, and a very smart offseason for the Rangers. All right, thanks again for watching Some Movie Talk 1, 2, 3.